We just gonna jump right into it. I don't have any. I usually have music playing in the intro, something to slide you into the channel, but I didn't do that tonight. Um, and the reason why is because the topic for tonight is really important to me, and I just didn't feel like setting up the music or doing any of that stuff. This is a very serious topic because I think it's one that's not talked about a lot, or it's not talked about enough. And what I want you to know is that success has a price, guys. Success has a price. Everybody wants to be successful. Excuse me, my nose is stuffed up. I got allergies all year round. I'm allergic to everything on the planet. But everyone wants to be successful, but everyone won't be successful because everyone is not willing to pay the price that comes with success. Guys, success has a price tag attached to it. There's a price that you have to pay to be successful. And you have to pay the price it takes to be successful at the level you want to be successful at. There's no shortcuts to it. You can't get around it. I don't care what the goal is, what ladder you set, what goal you set. You have to pay a price to reach that goal. Even if you have talent, you can just look at anybody who was successful or who was the top of their craft. It could be an athlete, it could be a doctor, it could be an entertainer, it could be an engineer, whatever it is. For them to get to that level, there was a price that had to be paid. And I don't think that's talked about enough. I think today we're in this age where everyone's trying to get success fast. They want to be successful fast. They want to get it when they're young so they can quote unquote enjoy it more versus when they're middle age or in their twilight years. But success comes with a price. And I'm gonna share a story with you. When I was working at a restaurant, and I used to cook at the restaurant, and then I became a manager. I actually started. So this is how it went. I started working at the restaurant, and I was a dishwasher. I was hired to be a cook and a dishwasher. They needed another cook. They only had two cooks at this particular restaurant. So I was going to be the third cook, to help out when the other cook wasn't there. I would help the one cook they had, and then when the other cook was off, I would help the other cook when he was working because they needed three cooks. So I worked at this restaurant, and I was doing dishes and I was cooking. Eventually, one of the cooks left, and actually he didn't leave. Okay, one of the cooks did leave. So then it was two cooks. I was a cook full time. I no longer did dishes. I was cooking full time with the other cook. And the other cook I was cooking with, he got fired. So then it was just me. I was the main cook. And by this time, when it was just me by myself, I had gained enough experience and knowledge from the cook that left and the cook that got fired that I was pretty much able to run on my own. So we still needed some cooks, but I was at least able to hold my own. I wasn't a liability at that point because I had gained enough experience and I got enough knowledge from those two gentlemen that I worked with. I wasn't making good money, guys. Let me just tell you that. I was not making good money. I think at that time I was like $2 above minimum wage, something like that. Maybe a little bit more, maybe like 250 above minimum wage. It wasn't a lot at all. I couldn't really afford to move out on my own, so I was still living at home, and I wasn't making anything. So I decided, you know what? Let me take the next step. So I became a manager at the same restaurant. I was at this restaurant for 5 years, and I became a manager. And I mean, guys, I still wasn't making a lot. I mean, I was making 950 when I became a manager, and that still wasn't a lot of money. It wasn't a livable wage. Um, it just wasn't, guys. I mean, could I have moved out? And I was still living at home too. So these 5 years, I was still living at while I was working at this restaurant. I was still living at home. So I was like 23, 24, still living at my parents' house, man. So, and looking back on it, could I have moved out? I could have, but it would have been a real struggle. Like it would have been a real struggle, especially because of my age. I was young. I didn't own my car. I was financing it, and because I'm young and I'm a male, my insurance was astronomical. I had full coverage insurance, and it was just ridiculously expensive for a young male, in his early 20s. So I could have moved out on my own, but it would have been a struggle. Like I wouldn't have been able to. I wouldn't have had any petty cash or any spare cash really to do anything. And at that time, being my age, I went out a lot. Obviously, I mean I was a young male, and especially if you work at a restaurant. I don't know if any of you guys ever work at a restaurant, but it's going to be one of the best experiences of your life, because you form close knit relationships after work, especially if you've been there for a year, for a while. You got tenure. I was there for 5 years, so I formed some really close relationships. A lot of the times we hung out together after work, we partied together after work. So I have a very positive experience when I look back on it. Was it perfect? No, it wasn't perfect. Did I make any money? No, I barely made any money, but the relationships and the people I got to bond with and spend time with it was priceless. And I look back at those times with great gratitude, man, with great gratitude. Even though some of those people I don't talk to anymore, like on a daily basis, a lot of them we're linked on Facebook. Obviously, I'm closer to some versus others, but at that period of time, that 5 years that we worked together, I wouldn't trade it for anything. And when I look back on it, I'm very fond of that time, and I'm very happy that I got to work there and meet those people and spend the kind of time that I did with those people. I'm very grateful when I look back at that. But anyway, kind of got sidetracked there. But anyway, guys, I wasn't making any money, so I had to make a decision. I was 24, about to be 25 soon, and I said, you know what, this just ain't working. I can't. I like working here, but I can't move forward. I can't really start my life and move forward. So I made a decision to go to school, because I didn't go to school. I graduated from high school and I started working. I really didn't want to go to school, to be honest with you. Number one, I really didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but and aside from that, I was done with school. I was always smart, but I hated doing homework. I don't know why, but I hated doing homework. I was very undisciplined. When we had book reports or tests or quizzes or something like that, I would do good on those. But when it came to doing homework, for whatever reason, I just did not like doing homework. When I came home from school, I basically wanted to be done with school. So when I look back on it now, it's like it's ridiculous. Like the lack of discipline I displayed when I was in school, like it was really terrible. I'm actually kind of embarrassed about it now when I look back on it. But my high school days they weren't like everyone else's. And I'll save that for another podcast and tell you about, or maybe I'll talk about it now. All right, I'll talk about it now. So, because it all ties in. So in high school, guys, I actually didn't graduate on time. I actually got left back my senior year. I actually didn't graduate. Me and my best friend, we both got left back together, and the reason why is because our junior and senior year, guys, we were just partying. That's all we did. Every weekend we would party, uh, drinking, everything that high school kids do. So that's what that's what got me left back during our senior year. So me and my best friend, we didn't even get to graduate with our class. Like we were just completely two kids that were out of control, man. And once I did graduate a year later is when I started working, and I was done with school because honestly, I mean, I wasn't a good student. I wasn't. I mean, it's just the truth. I wasn't a good student. I didn't want to do homework. I was very undisciplined in that area of my life. So when I graduated high school, I was pretty much finished. I didn't even want to go to college. I was done with it. And a matter of fact, when I graduated, it's crazy because I don't even. It was a blur now that I look back on it. It wasn't when you don't graduate with your class. It's kind of like it's not the same celebratory occasion like it would be if you graduated with your class. I mean, so I wasn't really excited about it. I was excited to be done, but at the same time, I felt bad because I wasn't graduating with my peers, meaning my original class. So anyway, I know I kind of jumped back, but it's important that I jump back to bring you forward so you can get a full understanding of what I'm saying in this podcast. So this was me. I got left back. I was a terrible student. My junior and senior year, I was drinking. I was smoking marijuana. Um, I would probably say I was officially a pothead. I'm just gonna say that. I probably didn't have the look of what a pothead looks like, but those 2 years, man. I mean, I was smoking a lot. I was smoking a lot of marijuana, a lot of drinking, and just being reckless. So I graduate high school. I start working. I'm doing dishes at this restaurant. I start cooking. I become a manager. I can't make a livable wage. I can't move out of my parents' house. So I decided to go to school. Didn't really know what I wanted to go to school for, but I heard that working with computers and technology and IT, was the way to go. At that time, that was a very hot market because it wasn't too long after the .com thing. So a lot of things, a lot of technologies were changing. A lot of technologies were being created. I think when did I think Facebook or something came around at 2005 or something, and so there was a lot of things that was happening in those early 2000s. So I was like, I'll go to school for technology. So I wound up going to this school. It was a technical school. It wasn't a university or anything like that. And actually, the technical school turned out to be it turned out to be crap. I mean, I got to be honest, man. It turned out to be crap. Um, One of the main reasons why I chose it is because it was so short. I mean, it was a year, and I was like, okay, I can. What do I want to go to school for? A year or 4 years? So and you got to remember, I'm pushing 25 at this point. So for me to go to school for 4 more years, that will put me at 29, 28, 29, somewhere around there. And I just wanted to move on to the next chapter of my life. So I wound up going to this technical school, and I actually met a great friend there, and we're still friends to this day. So I can't say I regret going there because if I never would have went there, I never would have met a good friend of mine who we're still close to this day. Even though we don't get to see each other as often, we're still close. We're still tight, and we formed a bond when we was going to that school. But anyway, I went to this technical school. It was only for a year. It wasn't a good technical school. There were some good teachers there, but the courses and the classes was so accelerated. Like you didn't really get a chance for the material to marinate, and so you can get a full understanding of it. Like so, this school required you not only to attend the school, but it requires you to do a lot of legwork on your end. Like you couldn't just show up there, take this course or this class, and expect to know the material. You had to take it upon yourself to go home and study it and reread a chapter, reread this chapter, reread that chapter, so you can fully get a better understanding of the content and the material that they're teaching. So because the courses were so accelerated, if you didn't take that extra step to try to learn the technology and try to understand the material on your own, you would really get lost. And there were some people in my school that was just completely lost. And there was people in there of all ages. I mean, we had people in there that were in their 50s, people in there that were in their 40s and their 30s. Like, it was really a mixed bunch of people that was in there. Guys and girls, different ages, different walks of life. Anyway, I graduate from this school, and I get out of the school, and I land a job in IT, and I started out making $13.25. So I was making $9.50 as a manager at the restaurant. Went to school for a year, and then I started making $13.25 at this low level IT job. Now pause for a second. While I was going to school, which was 5 days a week, it was full time, I was also working. And this is part of success. You have to pay a price. This is the price I had to pay. I went to school Monday through Friday, and after school, which let out at 12:30, I would work from 1 to 9 Monday through Friday. So I was working full time, and I was going to school full time, and I was working overtime on Saturdays. So sometimes the only day I ever got off was Sunday. So I was doing doubles Monday through Friday, guaranteed. I would go to school at 7:30 in the morning, and I would be out of the house until 9. I got off work at 9, but I didn't get back home until about 9:30. So from 7 o'clock in the morning all the way till 9:30. That's the next time I stepped foot in my house, was at 9:30 at night. So I would leave my house at 7 in the morning, and I would come back home at 9:30, and this was Monday through Friday. And on Saturday, I would work in the morning to the afternoon. So that year was obviously a very hard year, and this was a price I had to pay. At the time, I was just doing what I have to do, but me explaining to you in this podcast, this was one of the prices I had to pay, is I had to work full time, and I had to go to school full time, and I was only in the house basically to sleep. Outside of that, I was never there. I was either working or I was at school. Also, while I'm doing this, there is no social life. There is no going out, hanging out and doing all the stuff that I was doing when I was working at the restaurant. There's none of that, because I don't have time for that now. So while my friends who didn't go to school or who were already out of school, they was able to hang out and go places and party and do all this other stuff. But me, I had to go to school in the morning to the afternoon and then work from the afternoon till at night. So there was no fun time and social life for me at that point. Fast forward, I leave the job I was at making $13.25, and then I get a better job. And this job I was making, it was 18 something an hour. It was a help desk job. So $13.25 to 18 something an hour. So it was a $5 bump, which is awesome. And when I got that $5 bump, guys, it literally, I moved out. Like, it really started. This is where my life started to change. My lifestyle started to change. Now, I'm not saying $18.35 is a lot of money, but you got to remember where I came from. I was making $7 something an hour doing dishes, and then fast forward up till when I got that job, I'm now making 18 something an hour. So that's 8. So that was $11 more that I was making at that job than when I was doing dishes. Um, so when I got that job, I was able to move out. I got my own place. I was able to, have a car that's not going to break down every other week, which I was very grateful for that. Um, so I worked there for a while, and then I left there. And where did I go? When I left there, I went. I think I did a couple odd, stupid jobs. I'm not even going to mention, but I left there and I started working at this other job where I was making like 40,000 a year. If you break that down, that's like 20 something an hour or so, or 20 an hour on the dot actually. So I was making more there. And then from that job, I went to another job and they started me out at 65,000 a year. So that was a $25,000 bump that I had got leaving the job making 40,000 a year to my next job. In my field, which is IT, we take these tests. They're called certification tests. So I was taking these certification tests. It would help me gain knowledge. It would help me become more efficient at my job and in my field. And it would also help me be more marketable to my company that I'm working for and to any potential companies that I would go to. So I remember one year I was studying for this particular certification. In order to get the certification, I had to take 4 tests. And me not knowing, I had an ideal of what it was going to take as far as time, but you never really know until you start doing it. So in order for me to get the certification, I had to take 4 tests and then I get the certification. So it took me a year, guys, to get this certification. A year. And what that means is I had no summer, no spring, no fall, no winter. I worked full time and I was on call. So I would work overtime. And I was studying for this exam. So I had no life. That year, I had no social life at all. And it was a grind, man. It was a grind. Because when you have a job and you're basically studying for certification tests, and you have to pay for these tests, guys. These certification tests aren't free. So that's why you want to make damn sure well that you're studying and you're prepared to take them. Because if you fail this test, you have to pay to retake it. And I did fail a couple of the tests. So I was damn serious about this because I didn't want to waste money. And I didn't really have the money to waste. But it's really hard, especially when the weather breaks, guys, and it's warm outside. And everyone's outside doing stuff. People are swimming. People are going to the park. They're going on trips. They're going out partying. They're doing all this stuff. And you're stuck in a house studying. Now, every now and again, I would do something, which you got to do to keep your sanity. So every now and again, I would do something. But for the most part, I was stuck in the house. Guys, this was another price I had to pay for success. This was another moment where I had to pay a price for success. I had to sacrifice a whole year of doing anything. I didn't have a girlfriend and no social life. It was done. It was just work and studying. That's all that year was. So when I left the job where I was making 65,000, and every year we were getting raises. So when I left that job, I was at about 84,000 a year at that point, plus with a bonus. I was at like 84,000 or something, somewhere around there. I left that job and I went to another job. And the next job I went to, I was making 93. I was there for a while, and then I left that job making 93. And I went to another job that put me over 6 figures. Now, guys, I want you to listen to my story. Remember, I was a terrible student, but smart, but a terrible student because I was undisciplined. I got left back my senior year. I didn't graduate on time. My junior and senior year, because I was partying all the time, drinking, smoking weed, undisciplined, not doing homework. I graduated from high school a year later. I started working at a restaurant. I was doing dishes. Then I was cooking. And then I became a manager. When I first started at the restaurant, I was making $7 something an hour. When I left that restaurant, I was making $9.50. And guys, from the $9.50 to $13.25 to $18 and some change to $20 to $65,000 a year to $84,000 to $93,000 to over six figures. To get to this point, there were some heavy prices I had to pay. There was a price to pay to get there, guys. It didn't come easy, and it didn't happen overnight. It doesn't come fast. Success doesn't come fast. It's rare when you see that. It's rare when you see someone become a success overnight. That is not normal. The path to success is the story that I'm laying out for you. This is how it looks. And when people see you as someone who, in their eyes, is successful now because of how much you make, that's all they see. They don't see when you were doing dishes. They don't see when you were cooking steaks and chicken and hamburgers on the grill. They don't see that, guys. All they see is where you're at now. But they don't see the grind and the sacrifice and all the things that it took to get there. And I didn't have the strongest beginning. I had a terrible beginning, actually. And most of it was my fault. Some of it was things that was happening out of my control, but a lot of it was my fault. Being undisciplined and making bad decisions. And to get where I'm at today, it took a lot of sacrifice. There was a price that needed to be paid. And if I want to go any further from where I'm at now, there's another price that I'm going to have to pay. So I'm sharing this with you because I want you to know that you can be successful. You can be successful. I don't know what bar you set for yourself, but whatever bar you set for yourself, you can obtain it. But there's a price that needs to be paid for it. It's not going to come easy, and it's not going to come quick. It's going to take a lot of hard work, and it's going to take some sacrifice. It's going to take you being by yourself. It's going to take you being alone. It's going to take you it's going to take you being stuck in a house in the summer. It's going to take you not going on vacation trips. It's going to take you not going out partying or going to the club. I don't know what it is that you do for recreation, but it's going to take you to forego all these things so you can focus on obtaining whatever that bar is that you set for yourself. And it's not going to be easy. So I'm telling you that success comes with a price, and it's better for you to know it now sooner than later. I started late. I didn't start on my journey. I mean, technically, in totality, my journey started the minute I started working. That's how I frame it anyway. But what I'm saying to you is, I was an undisciplined student. I was an undisciplined young man. If you can be disciplined early in your life, way earlier than what I was, you can do far more in the same amount of time I did. You can do far more because you will have been able to start at the beginning with a great advantage because you would have had the discipline. So this is what success looks like. Success looks like starting from beginning at doing dishes, ending at being a president of a company, or ending at being a director of marketing or the director of IT or whatever the end is. But this is what it looks like. No one starts out being a director. No one starts out being a regional manager or being a CEO or being a VP or whatever you want to put in there. No one starts there. There's a price that needs to be paid in order to reach that particular level of success. So I want you to know that you can reach it, but it's going to take you willing to pay the price. And the question is that I have to put to you, that I'm putting to you, that you have to put to yourself is, are you willing to pay the price to get the kind of success that you want to achieve? Guys, I hope this helps you. I'm not saying or using this story to brag. And I don't think making over 6 figures is all the money in the world. But you got to understand where I came from someone making 7 something an hour. This is an accomplishment for me because I was not a great student. I did not have great expectations for myself, but I just kept working hard. And my hard work took me someplace that I never thought I would be. And I'm grateful to be here. And I want you to supersede where I'm at. That's why I want you to be disciplined earlier in life. I don't want you to get disciplined at 25. I want you to be disciplined earlier than 25. If you're 19 years old, I want you to be disciplined, and you're listening to this, I want you to be disciplined at 19. I want you to be disciplined at 18. I want you to be disciplined at 17 even. I want you to be disciplined at 21. And if you're older than 25, I want you to be disciplined after hearing this. I want you to work towards steps for you to be disciplined. Because I didn't grow up with a father. And I know a lot of you out there didn't grow up with fathers. And some of you grew up with fathers that wasn't worth a damn. So I want to give you advice that I would give a younger brother than me, a younger brother if I had one, or that I would give my nephews, as I got a bunch of them. I want to talk to you in that way, in case you don't have anyone to talk to you like this. I want you to supersede what I did by starting early in your life to be disciplined. And it doesn't matter what kind of student you was. You can't be a worse student than I was. You can't. I didn't even share all the stories that I was doing in high school. So you can't be any worse. But I'm letting you know that however you were earlier on in your life, you can turn that around if you discipline yourself and you're willing to pay the price. I think I may do another podcast about this because there's still a lot of other stuff that I didn't share, but I don't want this to run too long. It's already over 30 minutes. So I hope this helps you. If you have any stories that's similar to mine, or a story where you was disciplined early in life and you superseded what I did, I would love to hear it. And I hope this helps someone out there. All right, guys, I'll talk to you soon.